Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.
Shalom, 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 Yashar'el and Yahuda, grafted in Gentiles into the body of Hamashiach. Yeah, we at it again. Straightened. Because he's made my desires pure. All I want to do is what pleases him. I've received the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, and all I want to do is please him. I continue to renew my mind in the Basor and the Torah of truth, having the Ruach Ha'Qodesh on the inside of me reveal the truth of it to me. I praise Yahuwah. Hezekiah. Song is entitled Pure. I don't own the rights to this music. My desire is to bring the witness to Yahusha Ha'Mashiach to the people of Yahuwah and to the grafted in Gentiles in this dispensation who needs to receive the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. It goes beyond understanding that true Hebrew. You have to recognize that you must receive the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Yahuwah, I give you praise right now in the name of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach for the words that you gave to him, the words that he gave to Yehukanan, the words that I've received in Emunah, having never seen him. For he himself said, more blessed are they that believe and yet have not seen. Yahusha, that's me. I've received the witness. I've received the witness. I've received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I have been set apart for the kingdom of Yahu and Elohiym. This Ruach Ha'Qodesh has had signs following me. Yahuwah, I give you praise for this Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I give you praise for establishing me as a son of Yahu and Elohiym. Yahuwah, I submit myself to the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I submit myself to the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Ruach Ha'Qodesh, speak through me. Yahuwah, take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongues and reign. Yahuwah, may I not cause anyone to stumble or turn anyone out of the way. Yahuwah, may I never cause anyone to come up lame. Yahuwah, but this truth, this righteous witness must be declared, and I will open my mouth and say what you would have me to say. Yahuwah, not planning anything, trusting in you in that hour to declare the word. Yahuwah, I give it to you. I give it to you myself, Yahuwah. I give it to you. I give you myself. You've made my desires pure. Yahuwah, I pray for those that hear me, that they would receive the word, they would receive the quickening of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, that they would be established in the witness. Yahuwah, this is what I'm here for. Yahuwah, this is what you've called me to do. You've called me to let your people know that they must receive the witness, that they must be established in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Yahuwah, you have told me to show them what this looks like. And Yahuwah, throughout the book of Acts, up until this last chapter, we have explored what it looks like. I pray that they would receive the witness of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I give you praise. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, Yahuwah. I give you praise. Listen. It's about Yahuwah. It's about Yahusha. In the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, in Yahusha Ha'Mashiach's witness, casting all your cares upon him, for he cares for you. Listen, you should have rest in Yahusha because you've received the witness. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Listen, Hezekiah. The song is entitled Pure, and I don't own the rights to this music. Listen, you must understand that you have to receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. The message with me has not changed. It will be what it is, because that's what Yahuwah told me to preach. And that's what he told me to teach. That's what he told me to deliver unto you, this witness, right? In this hour, in this dispensation. Listen, we are in a new dispensation than that which the apostles and the prophets were in. We're in a different week in time. And that week in time dictates that the righteous are going to be selected from an everlasting plan of righteousness, Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. And because of them, they're going to establish this witness, this kingdom. They're going to go forth in that authority. They're going to be gathered. They're the ones that are going to return. Listen. But the witness of Yahusha has to go out. The witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach has to go out. We have to preach the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. We have to preach and ensure that these people are receiving the water, the blood, and the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right, in order to be established in his witness. And it's not what we've seen. It's not what we look like. It's not what you brought over from Christendom. It's not this idea that if I've accepted Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and been baptized and received the blood, I'm established in the witness. No, you have to receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, which testifies of it all. You have to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, the gift of Yahuwah and Yahusha, in order to receive anything of Yahuwah. Listen, you got to be established in the witness. And that's why Yahuwah told me, he said, you got to tell my people they need the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You got to tell my people they need to be established in the witness, because, I'm going to continue to pound it. I'm going to continue to say it, and I'm going to continue to bring it before your eyes. I'm going to keep it before your eyes as frontlets. I'm going to do what Yahuwah called me to do, right? And listen. I don't want nothing to do with anything that's going to keep me from doing that. I don't want anything that's going to deter me, sidetrack me, or take me off the path. Right? No. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh and the witness of Yahusha is critical. I don't want nothing in me that's going to cause me to decide to do something that Yahuwah and Yahusha did not ordain. I do not want to be the one that don't listen to the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. No. Now listen, it is imperative that you have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, because the Ruach Ha'Qodesh is going to lead you and guide you into all truth. Yahusha said it. Yahusha said, if you love me, you're going to keep my commandments. You're going to keep his commandments because you have his Ruach Ha'Qodesh. If you believe on him, you're going to have, if you believe on him, you're going to have been one of those who have received the witness. You have to receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You have to receive the water. You have to receive the blood. You can't just receive the water and the blood. The witness is incomplete. You have to receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, the water and the blood, in order for the witness to be complete. I have to. You ain't in the witness because you Hebrew. You got to be established in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You got to be established in the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Then you are in his kingdom. It's not enough just to know you Hebrew. It's not enough to know you Hebrew. You got to understand that the witness of Yahuwah and Yahusha is quintessential. You have to have it. You can't get away from not having received the witness. Listen, our forefathers did that. The Pharisees, the Sadducees, the religious leaders did that. They did that. And just because you've understood that you Hebrew, right, you got to understand that you got to go all the way through to Mashiach. And it ain't what you've seen or experienced in the Christian church. These two engines are totally different. Yeah, it's like a Porsche engine and a GM, a General Motors engine. They both function differently, right? They ain't the same. They'll produce a power, right? One is going to produce one kind of power, and one going to produce another kind of power. But it's still power that's going to fuel that vehicle. Listen, we rely on the Ruach HaQodesh's power, right, to fuel this engine. They rely on the elves that they have and the cunning treachery and trickery that he employs. We don't do that. We run off of the Ruach HaQodesh's power, right? We a Ruach engine. We're a Porsche engine. We are a hybrid engine. Matter of fact, our engine is unlike any other engine, right? Everything mocks, copies, and tries to impersonate this engine. But this engine is the real deal. This is the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. This is the power of Eloah. This is something that is supernatural, above and beyond anything they could ever believe or imagine. Because we have received the witness. And if you haven't received the witness, look, you ain't none of his. If you have not received the witness of Yahusha, you do not belong to him. I don't care how awakened you are. I don't care how awakened you are. I don't care. It doesn't matter how awakened you are if you have not received the quickening of the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Doesn't matter. Listen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you spend time in the old path and the ancient ways. It doesn't matter. If you haven't received the quickening of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, and if you haven't walked in the witness, and if you haven't been declaring the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, it don't even matter. The witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach is everything. The witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach is everything. The witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach is everything. Yes. Yes. Fringes. Yes. Zeets. Yes, head wraps, right? Yes. Yes. Because we have a covenant with Yahuwah, but it's fulfilled in Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, and you are established in the kingdom because of it. You're established in the kingdom because of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Not because you're zeets. You ain't even established in the covenant of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach if you've been circumcised. We are commanded to be circumcised, but the fulfillment of the seal is in Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Circumcision was a seal. It was a sign. It was something that Yahuwah gave to us to identify us as his people, right? Because literally, we didn't have a Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right? And then all he asked us to do was just to keep the commandments. We couldn't do that, right? Right? Yeah, we were the people of Yahuwah. Failed. Time and time and time again. Yahuwah delivered us. Failed. Returned. Yahuwah delivers. Failed. Returned. Yahuwah delivers. Failed. Returned. Yahuwah delivered us. Failed. Returned. And Yahuwah delivered us, right? Right? Because we were his people. We bore the seal of circumcision. But Yahusha established a people who would have the spirit, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh of him and his Father on the inside of them, right? Which replaced the original seal, right? It actually fulfilled the original seal because the seal of circumcision was never taken away, right? It was never taken away, right? Yahusha literally fulfilled the seal for the people of Yahuwah who bear his name. Because not only do they have it in their flesh now as the people of Yahuwah, they have it in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, which is Yahuwah and Yahusha on the inside of them that establishes them as a people of Eloah with power, with authority, with signs following. Yeah. So it ain't about just being cut in your foreskin. It's not being established as a permanent people in your foreskin. It's about being established in Yahuwah in obedience to what Yahusha has said, which establishes you in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh of truth, which makes you his. Because, beloved, now we the sons of Eloah, because we received his Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And it does not yet appear what we shall be, right? Because we know that we just have the earnest of the inheritance. We know we have exactly what we need to get the job done, right? We have exactly what we need to get the job done. And exactly what we need keeps us continually looking to him. We still have power, but we have to look to him in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. We have to trust him and when to use it. Yahusha had the Ruach without measure. Yahusha had the understanding and the capability and the capacity to wield this righteous power and authority without limits in a righteous way. Right? Yahusha. Right? But he knew that we needed the power in order to establish us in his kingdom. Yahuwah knew it. It was a plan. It was a plan from the foundations of the earth to restore the kingdom of Yahuwah on the earth again, to establish his dominion, right? As he had originally had it with Adam and Havah. They were supposed to subdue. They were supposed to put the kibosh down. They were supposed to establish the kingdom of Elohiym in the earth. They sold out the Hasatan. Right? And Yahusha knew that Yahuwah know that Yahusha was going to be the only way that can restore this order. And in order to be established in this order, you have to receive the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. Right? Hebrew brothers and sisters, and I'm speaking predominantly to you right now. Because see, the Gentiles, they received the witness, and they established it in Emunah, and they walk with it, right? Right? If they establish the witness and they receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, they're established. Even them, they have to receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. They can't be established in just the water and the blood. You got to receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. They have to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And it ain't what they've seen in Christianity. Because, that Christianity thing has messed up the minds of people. It has messed up their minds. They, sometimes we get confused into thinking that, it's going to be just like it was in Christendom. It's going to be just like it was in the Christian church. No, this ain't that. That connection that you make with Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and the Ruach Ha'Qodesh ain't that. Because that ain't even Ruach. It's not the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. I don't know how many times I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to keep telling you. Christianity is not the Holy Ghost. It is a ghost, right? It's set apart to its El, right? But it's not the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. It is not Yahuwah's set apart Ruach. Because Yahuwah's set apart Ruach functions in conjunction with his commandments. As Yahusha said, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments as I have kept the Father's commandments. Right? Here, and I know you love me if you keep my commandments. And see, he knows you love him because you have received his witness and have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, which gives you the capacity to love. Because you don't really have the capacity to even love without the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, not the way Yahusha intended. Listen, the capacity to love the way Yahusha intended will cause you to lay down your life for your brother. Oh, yeah. In righteousness. You have to understand. You have to see the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You have to understand what that means. Being established in the witness. Gentiles, you have to understand what that means. Being established in the witness is not Christianity. It does not even resemble that. This is not this. Right? And if your approach to your assemblies and your gathering is as it was in the Christian church, it ain't that. Right? Am I telling you you don't praise Yahuwah? No, I'm not telling you don't praise you. You praise Yahuwah, but you don't pattern what you do after what you did in the assembly. Because in Yahuwah's assembly, things flow according to how Yahuwah dictates. Oh, yeah. It's not an established assembly agenda. You may come in and praise Yahuwah for a while and then get on your knees and pray and fast and get before him on a Shabbat. And then you have the Basor and the Torah read, the word read, right? And then you have an elder, a Mori, and a leader who may expound on that, right? Right? But it's about how Yahuwah moves in the midst of the assembly. It ain't Christianity. It's not a format. It's not an established format. You have to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, man of Yah, woman of Yah. We're in Acts, the 28th chapter, and it's the final chapter. And listen, you know what? You have to understand, right? There is so much in the book of Acts that the apostles and the prophets, the apostles had done that could not even be recorded in this, right? But the things that were recorded were done in order to help you to understand in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh what this looks like. What it looks like. Because see, in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, you can look at it and say, yeah, this is what should be doing. This is what should be happening. Right? And you ain't going to rest until you see it happening. Because it decrees, it declares that this is what it looks like. So this is what it should be looking like. The witness of Yahusha, this is what it looks like. When you take people and give them the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and you baptize them in the name of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and they receive the forgiveness of the blood and for their sins, and before they come up out of that water, you lay hands on them and have them receive the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Listen, that's what it looks like. Right? That's what it looks like. We don't do that. Do that. Listen, don't do that. They don't even do that in the Christian church no more. Joel Osteen ain't baptizing nobody. T.D. Jakes ain't baptizing nobody. Tell you, he ain't doing it. They ain't doing that. In most of these churches, they ain't baptizing nobody. I don't care what denomination it is, they ain't doing it. They ain't baptizing nobody. They ain't baptizing nobody. Nobody. They ain't been baptizing people for years. I know I'm preaching and I know I'm telling you the truth. They ain't been baptizing folk for years. They ain't been doing it. That's the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. You ain't established in the witness. Listen, you go to an assemblies of God or any of these other churches, you ain't getting back. Ain't nobody baptizing you. They're barely asking you to receive Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. They're going to pray some simple prayer like, I confess Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, you saved. No, I ain't wrong. I mean, that's Christianity. That's that twisted system that's kind of found its way over in the awakening that Yahuwah said, listen, no, I'm not accepting that. My people have to receive the witness. They have to be established in the Ruach. I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that. I am not accepting that. That is not my witness. Got people flowing into Kenneth Copeland ministry, ain't baptizing nobody the first. I know Creflo Dollar ain't getting in no water, and I know they ain't baptizing nobody. Listen, I know T.D. Jakes ain't either. I don't care what anybody. He ain't baptizing nobody. How you gonna? Listen. The last church that I was a part of was a Methodist church. AME. We ain't baptized nobody the whole year and a half, 2 years I was there. Not one person. They ain't even sprinkle nobody with water. That ain't the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. That's not the witness. How can you say that that's the witness and you don't even do what Yahusha did? We ain't even know what Yahusha said. Come on, that ain't the witness. When was the last time y'all baptized somebody? When was the last time you physically took somebody under the water? They confessed their sins. They received the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. You laid hands on them. They received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Because that's the pattern of things. Right? But see, you know what? Christianity has a different Ruach. They don't have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. They have a set apart spirit. Right? That's not what's in the Basor and the Torah. That's not what's in the Basor and the Torah. That is not the Ruach Ha'Qodesh of truth. That's not. You can't be worshiping on a Sunday and have that be the Torah of truth. Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. You can worship that. I mean, you could do that. You can continue to worship on Sundays. You continue to confess Jesus. You can continue to pray to the Lord. You can continue to thank God. Listen, you know what? It's interesting, right? Right? You know, all of these rap artists and all of these award-winning people, you know, they get them. I like to thank the Lord. I like to thank God. No, they don't even say the Lord. Most of them say, I like to thank God. Right? That's any L. That's any L. Right? For giving me the talent and the ability to rap and declare B's and hoes and get an award. Huh? What? This is not that. How many of them rap artists you ever got up and said, or artists or any of them says, listen, I'd like to thank Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, who has redeemed me by his blood, who has given me his rule. You don't even get that in them Christian awards. Come on, man. They all sold. They sold in sin. It is, and I don't care if you like it. I really don't care. I don't care. Go ahead and keep worshiping your Jesus and your Lord, right? Just go ahead and do it. You know, if you hear me, you're like, oh man, I can't stand that dude. Listen, you ain't got to listen to me. Go keep worshiping Jesus and the Lord. You know, keep celebrating your Christmas and your Easter, your Estar worship. Go ahead. You know, keep worshiping your bunny rabbits and eggs, not knowing that's pagan and that was wicked. Right? Go ahead and do it, you know, and tie it into the resurrection of Hamashiach. What? Yahuwah will not share his worship with idols. Right? Shall I join the temple of Yahuwah with idols? I'm a temple of Yahuwah and Yahusha. Am I going to go into the same places that I know that they worship other elves? Am I going to go to a football field knowing that these people worship this pigskin? They worship these athletes that have dedicated their lives to serving Hasatan in their personal abilities. Should have been giving their lives to Yahuwah Hamashiach, but they pursuing the desires of their flesh and of their minds. And by nature, they're just children of wrath, these and as everybody else. Pursuing your desires of the flesh and of the mind, and are by nature the children of Hasatan. Let's go. Because again, I can do this. I could do this for hours, right? But only those who have an ear to hear are going to hear and receive and change. Only those who have an ear to hear, who want to receive the witness. And see, I don't care whether or not you like it or not, because I'm not here to be popular. I'm not here to get 100,000 likes. I'm not here to get a bunch of views, because this is for those who have an ear to hear. And if you can hear it, you're going to receive the blessings of the witness. And you're going to receive it and go forth in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And he's going to open your eyes. And you're going to be a witnessing machine. Because you're going to realize that this is what you should have been doing. That's what you're going to realize. You're going to realize this is what you should have been doing. Who has put his Ruach in you. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And this dispensation. Right? Because a perverse generation has arisen after Hamashiach, and perversity has covered the face of the earth. The beast has took its tentacles to the four corners of the earth, right? Hoping to destroy or cast darkness on the work that the witness that the disciples and the apostles had done. And he did it, because Enoch said he was successful. Oh yeah, he says a perverse generation shall arise. He said the world was going to become darkened and they were going to forget wisdom, right? They were going to forget Yahusha Hamashiach's witness. Yeah, they're going to be darkened, right? Because they ain't going to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. The Ruach Ha'Qodesh of wisdom. It's going to become darkened. Yeah. Darkened, just like Yahusha said. He must work the work while it is day. He's the light of the world, right? And upon his exiting, he needed his disciples to get out and give the word to as many as could receive the witness in this dispensation and be rescued. Yeah, Yahusha recognized that the disciples had to get the Basora of truth out to establish those that Yahuwah has chosen that would make it through the darkness. But the darkness became great, and a perverse generation ran rampant. You ought to read Enoch, 93rd chapter. Yeah, let's go in. Now, we left. Actually, we got to this section, but I wanna hit it again really quick because it's not that long. But you know, Paul, again, in this last chapter, you understand that Yahuwah is still faithful to Shaul, even though Shaul did not obey the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And there was consequences for that disobedience, right? For not having obeyed the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. There were things that were done by the apostles, right? That are recorded in Acts that were designed to verify what Yahusha had said would occur. Right? Because they received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Right? Now, because they received the witness of Yahusha, and they took that witness as far as they could in the time that they had before everything became darkened. Right? To the beast, the Roman Catholic Church, the first Christian emperor, went forth with this Christian Catholicist worship that he established on Sunday. That tentacles went forth because he declared that they were to go in the name of the cross and conquer. Right? See, because the Roman Catholic Church's idea of spreading the gospel, or the news, or having people accept this Christian faith was through violence and force. You bowed your knee to Rome, and in doing so, you are now a part of the Roman Christian faith, right? When you resisted Rome, you were resisting the Christian faith. When you resisted Rome, you were resisting the cross. And they had taken the Basora and the Torah as their motivation in establishing a kingdom that was not of Yahuwah. Right? They took it, and it was good. It was right, but they twisted it for their purpose, like Islam did. They pulled out what they needed, and and changed Yahuwah to Allah. They did that. The Muslims, Islam. They took. Farrakhan still does that in his manipulative way now. Oh yeah, he does it now. Oh yeah. He'll refer to us as the people of the book. Right? We the people of the book. But he's talking about Allah. He's talking about Islam. Right? We're the people of the book. We are Hebrews. Right? But Hebrews ain't Islam. And he knows that. Listen, all he's doing is he's using what he knows because he's tied into that system. You can't exist doing and saying the things that he's saying, right, and not be smoked. Literally, catch one, right, be taken out without having had some kind of alliance or allegiance. Because it's not established in righteousness. It's not established in righteousness. Same thing with Judaism. Judaism. They think they the people. Even though Revelation says 3 and 9. He know their works. How they are rich. He knows their works. synagogue of Hasatan. He knows. They've taken the 5 books of Moses and established the Talmud. Because it's their culture. And they don't even believe it. They don't even obey it. They don't even believe that they need to keep all the laws. They don't. Right? They obviously don't have a problem with fornication. They honestly don't have a problem with fornication, as it is recorded in the Basora. Yeah, as it is recorded in Paul's letter to Ephesians. Man, you got a problem with fornication? Yeah, the people, they the people of Yahuwah. Right? They believe in the Torah. Right? They don't have a problem with fornication. They don't have a problem with adultery. They don't have a problem with homosexuality. They got the biggest gay parade over in Israel. In Yahuwah's holy set apart land. But they the people. Now I don't even know if this was gonna make it on but I ain't specified where and who, but you know. All right, let's go. You gotta understand. This ain't Christianity. This ain't Islam. And this ain't Judaism. And what we experience in this has to be by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, because that's the power that we are going to see in this last hour, right? As he selects the righteous from the everlasting righteous plant. We're going to see it. We're going to see it. All right, let's go on. So, Paul, having been shipwrecked, probably been on the water for a little while, eventually made it to shore, right? And when they were escaped, then they knew that the island was called Melita. I don't know. Anyway, that's what the island was called. Let's see what it says in the Greek so we can get their pronunciation.
Strong's G 3194, Melite.
So it's called Melite.
Thayer's Lexicon, related entry, Melitene.
It means honey. The name of an island in the Mediterranean lying between Africa and Sicily, now called Malta. So it's Malta. It was honey. Right, but they landed there, right? And a barbarous people showed us no little kindness. So a barbarous people, right? Okay, look at that word in the Greek.
Strong's G 915, barbaros.
Now, these people, it says barbarous means one whose speech is rude, rough, and harsh. They say that about Hebrews all the time. Why are you so harsh? Why are you so loud? Right? One who speaks a foreign or strange language which is not understood to another. So anything that wasn't Greek or Latinist, right, was considered barbarous, right? And what they did was, once they established an understanding of the language, they translated it. And what they wanted to eventually do in everywhere was to establish Latinist, which ultimately evolved into English, right? Used by the Greeks of any foreign ignorant of the Greek language, right? So you're barbarous if you don't speak the language that they consider civilized, right? Civilized. The Greek language, right? All right. So we understand what they're referring to here, right? And they showed us no little kindness, which means they were real kind to us. You know, they saw that the ship was correct and we had made it onto the land. And, you know, they showed us no little kindness, where they kindled a fire and received us, every one, because of the present rain and because of cold. So it was raining and cold, right? They said they didn't leave us out there in the water. They seen us coming on the land. They struck a fire up, these people. They don't speak their language, right? Probably don't dress like them, right? But yet they showing hospitality, right? And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand. So, you know, he had a snake to jump up and bit him on his hands, right? Right? And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hang on his hand, they said amongst themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he haveth escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffereth not to live. Right? Because, you know, what you sow is what you're going to reap. Right? That's why these nations, right? These heathen, wicked, right? These heathen, wicked colonizers, right? They're going to be judged. Going to be judged. The lands of our captivities are going to be judged. All of them. Every single one of them, where we were oppressed by the oppressor, as the people of Yahuwah are going to be judged. Actually, they're judged already. And you know what? Right? It requires us to receive the witness in this time, in this day, in this age, right? Those that are selected from the everlasting plan of righteousness, right? Right? Because he says, afterwards there shall be another week, the 8th week of righteousness, to which shall be given a sword to execute judgment and justice upon all the oppressors. Yahuwah is going to execute judgment via the angels, right? And he's going to allow them, right? Sinners shall be delivered into the hands of the righteous. They come in and being subject to the righteous. The righteous that have been selected from the everlasting plan of righteousness. Not just because you Hebrew. He ain't on no block on the corner yelling, you gonna be my slave, you gonna da-da-da-da, and you won't even have the witness of Yahushua Ha'Mashiach or the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You going to hell. You going to hell, and they might just kill you before. They might just end up killing you. Or making you subject. Devil, you don't. He said, and this is the 13th verse, right? He says, and the sword shall be given to execute judgment and justice upon all the oppressors. 14 of that 93rd chapter. And sinners shall be delivered up into the hands of the righteous, and during its completion shall acquire habitations by their righteousness, and the house of the great King Yahuwah shall be established forever. Now listen, right? This is a process in the 8th week, right? So the rise of the everlasting plant of righteousness that's going to go forth in righteousness is going to go forth over a period of time, right? Because in establishing this righteous witness, you have to establish those who are going to be the righteous, who Yahuwah is going to seal, right? And who after are sealed, he going to execute judgment in the erects and the lands of these oppressors. And those who have received the witness, they're going to go forth with righteousness, right? But you got to receive the witness. Paul took this witness in the dispensation of the weeks that he was in to the place where he could. And then darkness came. And folk forgot wisdom. Because listen, we went into captivity via the transatlantic slave trade. Why? Because we weren't keeping the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and obedience to Torah. Came darkened. They didn't just scoop us up because we was Hebrews. Yahuwah had proclaimed a judgment upon us. We still needed to go into Egypt again on ships, and he knew he was. But that's why he established Yahusha Ha'Mashiach's witness in the earth. That's why the Apostle Paul and Peter was going so hard. That's why we need to be going hard and stop running around here talking about we Hebrew. We need to go around talking about we have the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. We the people of Yahuwah, but we are the people of Yahuwah because we keep his laws, statutes, and commandments and have faith in Hamashiach, and these signs follow us. Yeah, then they're going to fear you. Yeah, they're going to be afraid then. They're going to be like, ooh, man, these people got power. They got supernatural power. And here all along, we've been doing all this DNA shifting and matching, trying to develop super soldiers and superheroes. Yeah. Don't you think they ain't doing that? They're anticipating the rise of the righteous seed. They're anticipating the righteous plant and the righteous seed from the righteous plant. They're planning. They're doing it. Listen, Dawid slew a giant with a rock. And the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, because he had the Ruach Ha'Qodesh because Yahuwah gave it to him. He poured his anointing on him. Yeah, that's why he had the courage that he's. Look, what is this circumcised? What? Yeah. They know we giant slayers. They know when we have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, we become supernatural. That's why they pressing so hard to create this supernatural, these super soldiers, boosting DNA, trying to do things to create. Yeah, I know you think, man, much learning has made you mad. You mad. Yeah, I know y'all think I'm just like, you're thinking just like Festus when Paul was preaching and declaring the truth. They was like, man, Festus like, Paul, you mad. You done bumped your head. You done lost your mind. And I know they hear me, they think the same thing, but it's okay though. No, I've been made alive. I've been quickened by the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, and I have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, and this is what it looks like. And you ain't seen nothing yet. No, you ain't seen nothing yet. See, I know the signs follow me because it's followed me in my past life, but it's going to really follow me. Because I got some places to go. I got some people to lay hands on. I got some diseases to remove. I got things I got to do for you and Yahusha. Yeah, because this is that righteous awakened seed from the plant of righteousness. Yeah, okay. Whoo, okay. So, they felt Paul was going to die, but Paul wasn't going to die because Yahusha already prophesied that, when you'll take up, if you drink any deadly thing, you get bit by a snake or a serpent, you shake them off, you take up serpents and they won't hurt. This is the fulfillment of the word. That's why Yahusha put it in here so that you would know that what he said is what exactly comes to pass. And see, I received this in Emunah. I receive it in Emunah. Right? I'm not like Stephen. I mean, I'm not like Thomas. I'm not even like Philip. Right? Philip the apostle. Right? Who doubted everything. Thomas, who doubted everything. I ain't like that. I received the witness. I believe that what the word says is what the word says, right? And in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, the word is is revealed to me. Okay, let's go. Right. So, and he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm. Right? He didn't feel nothing. Right? Howbeit they looked, and when he should have swollen or fallen dead suddenly, but after they had looked a great while and saw no harm come to him, he changed their minds to him. They changed their minds and said that he is an El. All right, so look, he's an El. Literally, he is an El, but he is not the chief El. He is not El Shaddai. He is not Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. But he has the Ruach of Elohiym and Yahuwah in him. And when that Ruach of Yahuwah and Elohiym is in him, declares that he shall not die, then that's the El in him that's causing those things to come to pass. So he is an El, but he's not worshipped as an El. Yahusha was an El. Yahusha was the son of an El, Yahuwah. Yahusha received the Ruach Ha'Qodesh without measure. He had all power in the Romaiym and the Arets. He was an chief, second to none, El. And what he did was he made available for us to receive the Ruach of Yahuwah and Yahusha to be in us, right? He gave us the ability to do what we needed to get the job done for him. We else. See, when we begin to realize the significance of the witness and the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, not for the purpose of us to be worshipped, but the purpose of us to do the work, we become a threat to Christianity, to Islam, and to Judaism. And that's why they're all going to come against us. Because we have the one and only true witness, Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Right? They ain't coming to us because we Hebrews. They coming to us because we have been selected from the righteous plant. And Yahusha Ha'Mashiach is Yeshua. And those who have received the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach have been chosen by Yahuwah, the righteous plant. All right, so in the same quarter were possessions. In the same quarter were possessions of the chief men of the island, whose name was Puteoli, who received us and lodged us 3 days courteously. So he had us there and he lodged us, right? Gave us a place to stay, right? Gave us food to eat, gave us stuff to keep us warm, gave us what we needed, right? He was courteous, right? And it came to pass that the father of this Publius laid sick of a fever and of a bloody flux. So he had a fever, he had an infection. He had a bloody, pussily flux. He had an infection, right? Right. To whom Paul entered in. He's like, oh no. Because, he wasn't communicating. They just knew the man's father was sick. He knew the man's father was sick. Right? So, because they were barbarous. They didn't speak the language. They didn't speak Greek. But they were kind. Because it doesn't take language, an understanding of a language, to recognize kindness and being courteous. Right? Because of what they did for Shaul. Shaul found that their father this person in charge, this chieftain, right? His father was sick, right? With the fever and the flux. To whom Paul entered in and prayed and laid hands on him and healed. Paul prayed, laid hands on him, and healed him. Man didn't speak English, didn't speak Greek. And though Paul spoke many languages, I'm not sure that Paul spoke this island language. Right? Right? And though the Ruach Ha'Qodesh knows how to communicate, right? Without you needing to understand a language, because he can do that. Because he did that to me. I'm a witness. I'm a witness. I told this story before, right? I was invited by a pastor to go to a Spanish church. And, you know, they were all speaking Spanish. Pastor was speaking Spanish, preaching to the people in Spanish, right? But he wanted us to come. We came, you know, and he said, actually, he wanted the pastor to come. The pastor came, and then, you know, he wanted me to come because the pastor knew that, you know, I moved into Ruach Ha'Qodesh, and he didn't even know what that was at the time. I don't think he understood that because he used to have me, but I don't think he understood it because he couldn't do it. Right? Well, anyway, so I was with this pastor. We was at this church, and this man was preaching, you know, he was doing his thing, he's preaching. You know, we didn't understand nothing. You know, and it was okay because it was all right. You know, we was there, we was supporting, right? And then, you know, it was coming to the close of the service, you know, and then he asked me if I would pray. You know, pray for the people. If they come up and pray for them. I'm like, sure, no problem. I said, I don't know what to say to these people because, you know, I don't speak their language. They don't speak my language. I don't know. But you know what? I'm just going to pray in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. And when I pray in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, listen, you know, you going to do what you need to do, you know. So that's what I did. They came up. I started praying in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Praying, boom, praying. You know, and people like this going like, I mean, they getting hyped, right? But, you know, I don't know. I'm just praying in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. But, man, they getting hyped, right? I'm praying, and finally I finished praying, you know, and I turn around and I go towards my seat because, you know, they still had that pulpit thing. And, you know, you sitting up there, you know, you come down to the people. You know, and I went back up and sit back around and, you know, the pastor jumping up, his hands all up in there, jumping. And, you know, the people are clapping and shouting. Pastor comes over to me and says, come here. You speak Spanish? You speak Spanish? No, I don't speak a bit of Spanish. Oh, you speak Spanish? Yeah, you do. I said, no, I don't speak Spanish. And then they really went. And the pastor was sitting next to me, invited me. He was like flabbergasted, like, right? And then he went on to say how I'd said something about how at the time the Lord was going to open doors and he was gonna move on the church and on the assembly. He was gonna do some things. You know, he just kept going on in what I was saying. You know, I ain't know none of that. I mean, that was Yahuwah for you. That wasn't for me. I mean, I didn't need that. Because all I'm going to do is what you will tell me to do. I'm going to do what he tell me to do. I'm not going to do nothing else. And, you know, I rejoiced with them. I was rejoicing with them. You know, I was glad of that. But, you know, I didn't walk away feeling like, oh, man, I got power. Nah, man, because, you know, it ain't got nothing to do with me. It's Yahuwah. It's like Paul shook that thing off. It ain't had nothing to do with him. It was Yahuwah. He's an El. But he ain't trying to be worshipped. I ain't trying to be worshipped. You know, it's funny because the next service pastor was like, yo, you know, it's just a wonderful thing. You know. And now, you know, he want me praying for everybody. He want me pray. He want me to preach more regularly, you know, all that, you know, I mean, but it's because of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh of truth. You know, I'm just going to do what the Ruach did. Now, Paul went in and prayed for these people. Who knows what the outcome was, right? We don't know if Paul praying in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, that when he laid hands on the man, he spoke a word, and the man understood it. We don't know. Right? But we know the man was healed. Right? But we also know that, you know, sometimes you ain't got to have emunah for nothing. If Yahuwah is going and heal you, he's going to heal you. Right? There's some things you just got to have imunah for. But then there's sometimes when you got the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, you can walk into a situation because Yahuwah tells you to pray for them, right? Or because you have compassion because they've been courteous. And you pray for them. I mean, you go around praying for everybody unless Yahuwah tells you to. That's why you got to have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, because otherwise you're going to lay hands on all kinds of people suddenly. Right? And then all you doing is moving Ruachs. Possibly from you to somebody else. Or you taking Ruach from somebody else and you carrying them. If you ain't got the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, you is. If you got the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, then you going to listen to the Ruach Ha'Qodesh and you going to not lay hands on anybody suddenly. But if you do, and you know sometimes you feel like afterwards you got to pray yourself off. You got to pray that thing off you. Because it's a Ruach that can follow, attach itself. Okay. So he healed them, right? So when this was done also, others also which had diseases in the island came and were healed. So other people started coming, Paul laying hands on them. Praying, laying hands on them. The mission, the ministry to the other nations. The Gentiles. Paul's doing the work, right? Now, it doesn't say that afterwards Paul took them and baptized them. It doesn't say any of that. Right? It doesn't say any of that. I mean, did he? It doesn't say it. Right? But we know this one thing. His pattern has always been, right, by the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right, to deliver the word, right, to demonstrate power through healing, but to preach the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Whether he did preach the witness, we assuming that's his pattern, right? So also honored us with many honors. So they lavished things on Paul and the people, right? Lavished them. And when we departed, they laded us with such things as were necessary. They gave us what we needed. They gave us what we needed, to make the journey, right? So let's go on, right? Because now Paul's about to arrive in Rome, right? After 3 months, we departed in a ship of Alexandria, which had wintered in the isles, whose sign was Castor and Pollux, right? So again, 3 months later, they on the ship, right? 3 months later. And that 3 months later comes preceding this particular last verse 10, which means that they could have possibly been there for 3 months because it was the winter time. And wasn't no ships coming. So they had to wait till after the winter. And then after that winter, because they stayed there for a while. Paul was there delivering and healing and doing stuff in Yahuwah's name, in the name of Yahusha, for a while. At least 3 months. Right? At least 3 months. And then they got on a ship headed to Alexandria. Right? And landing in Syracuse, we tarried there for 3 days, and then they hung out in Syracuse for 3 days. And from thence, we fetched a compass and came to Rhegium. And after one day, the south wind blew, and we came next to Puteoli. So they got a compass. They established which direction they needed to go in. They established where they were going and how to get there. They jumped on the ship, and they caught the south wind, right, which would take them where they needed to go, right? And they came the next day to Puteoli, or Elio. He says, where we found the brethren. So once they got to this place, they found brethren, right? And were desiring to tarry with them 7 days. And so we went towards Rome. So, they got this place. They tarried with the people 7 days, right? And then they made their way to Rome, right? Right? And from thence, when the brethren heard of us, they came to meet us as far as Appii, Forum, and the 3 taverns, whom when Paul saw, he thanked Allah and took courage. So Paul finds the brethren who actually come to meet him. Finally, he has some people who were established in Yahu and Yahusha. Right? Right? The brethren. Right? And Paul took courage. Yeah, Paul had to wait on him. Right? Had to wait. He'd been tied up and shipwrecked and in chains. You know, was able to do the work a bit. Able to preach and you would understand that in 3 months, you know, when Paul wasn't trying to do something. You know, I mean, the communication barrier is what it is, but in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, listen, I know that Yahuwah can take a situation, right, and give people what they need, and all you got to do is submit to the Ruach Ha'Qodesh and say what he says in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. See, listen, that's what I'm telling you. Listen, I know what this looks like, right? I know what it looks like. Even when I was in Christendom, even when I was in these different churches. You know, it's interesting because they even knew that there was something different about me. Everywhere I went. Methodist. Church of God in Christ. Church of God in Christ. Pastor would send me to places where he wouldn't send other elders. Because he knew I was going to preach the word and declare the Torah of truth. Right? That was Yahuwah. And you know, all I ever taught was I wasn't teaching no Church of God in Christ doctrine. I was teaching what was in the Besorah, the Torah. Right? Right? And eventually, you know, I mean, I got to the point where even in Church of God in Christ, I'm like, look, I can't do this more, I gotta go. He was like, well, you know, then he turned the whole church against me. Because I left. I didn't go preaching to nobody other church. I just left because I knew the Ruach Ha'Qodesh told me I had to leave, and I told him, Ruach Ha'Qodesh, I got to leave. I can't stay. Put out all kinds of things against me because all I did was obey the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. But see, what that was not the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Listen, Church of God in Christ. I went to my father's church. Church of God. Oh, yeah. Father told me, look, you need to leave. That's because he was in sin. He was my daddy and I love him, but he was in sin and I was in righteousness. And I was going to preach and teach the word. I wasn't going to pick and choose. Yeah, didn't go over well. Yeah, didn't go well at all. I had to go. He told me, you need to take your family. You need to go. Yeah. Because of the witness. Yeah, I don't hear me. You listen, the witness, it doesn't matter. It will separate mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers. It will. It will. It will. I said, listen. I said, you can't be doing that. You can't be having a relationship with somebody in the church. You can't tell me what I can't do. I'm grown. How you gonna tell me? You can't tell me. You can't tell me no. You could get out of here. Yeah. Yeah. The witness. That's what I'm telling you. It ain't like that. These people do what they want to do. Right? I know I'm preaching and teaching the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. Listen, right? So he was refreshed. He took courage. Paul took courage. Paul knew that everything that he went through, he didn't have to go through. Yahuwah will work everything together for his good. But Paul didn't have to do that. He didn't have to be shipwrecked. He had to be locked up for over 3 years. Not free to go about and preach and teach the word throughout the Gentile territories. All right. This is what it looks like. What it looks like. He says, and when we came to Rome, the centurion delivered the prisoners to the captain of the guard. So all the prisoners got delivered to the captain of the guard, right? But Paul was suffered to dwell by himself with a soldier that kept him. So Paul had his own quarters. He had his own place to live. That's Yahuwah. That's Yahuwah. That's Yahuwah's grace. Yahuwah's grace is sufficient. Right? So he says, and it came to pass that after 3 days, Paul called the chief of the Jews together. Right? Paul been there for 3 years, right? So he ain't going into the synagogues because he can't get to the synagogues because he on house arrest. You know, he can do whatever he want in his house, right? Lawful, right? But he can't go outside the house. No house arrest, right? And it came to pass that after 3 days, Paul called the chief of the Jews together, chief priests, and all of them that were of the synagogue in Rome. And when they had come together, he said unto them, men, brethren, though I have committed nothing against the people or customs of our father, yet was I delivered prisoner from Jerusalem into the hands of the Romans, right? So Paul begins to testify to the Jews, right? You wouldn't tell him to do that. But he did it anyway, because, he felt like, Paul always feels like he has to get to the brethren, right, in Rome, right? And, right, who, when they had examined me, would have let me go because there was no cause of death in me, right? So he said, I'm Festus, Felix, Bernice, Agrippa, they understood that there was nothing that I did wrong amongst the Yahudiym, right? But when the Jews spake against it, I was constrained to appeal to Caesar, and I had ought to accuse my nation of. So he says, okay, so I'm appealing to Caesar because they can't accuse me of that. I didn't do it. Right? Now he's sitting in jail, prison, whatever. With Felix, he was, kind of had some liberty. But after Felix, he was on house arrest. He was locked up. He wasn't even in house arrest. He was locked up in chains. Right? So here we have Paul, right, explaining to these Yahudiym, right, but when the Jews spake against it, I was constrained to appeal unto Caesar, not that I have ought to accuse my nation of, right? For this cause, therefore, have I called for you to see and to speak with, because that for the hope of Yashar'el I am bound with this chain. He said, I'm bound for the hope of Yashar'el. Yahusha. Yahusha, Yahuwah's salvation, the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, which establishes Yahuwah's people in his kingdom. That's the hope of Yashar'el, the restoration of a kingdom, Yahuwah's kingdom in the earth, his dominion in the land that is his. That's what Paul's talking about, the hope, right? Right? And they said unto him, we neither receive letter out of Judea concerning thee, neither any of the brethren that came should or speak any harm of thee. So we ain't heard of nothing like this. We haven't heard this, right? People that have come from Judea hasn't made mention of this, right? He said, but we desire to hear of thee what thou thinkest. But we want to hear what this was about. We ain't hear nothing. We want to hear what it's about, right? For as concerning this sect, right, we know that everything it is spoken against. So he said, listen, we know about the witness of Yahushua Ha'Mashiach. We know about the Nazarenes. Right? We know about the Messianics. We know all about them, right? But we want to hear what you got to say, right? We want to see how that relates to you, right? We know what they speak against them, right? And when they had appointed him a day, there came many to him unto his lodging, to whom he expounded and testified the kingdom of Elohiym, persuading them concerning Yahusha, both out of the law of Mosheh and out of the prophets, from morning till evening. So Paul went in, just like he always do when he go into the synagogues, persuading the Yahudiym of the witness of Yahushua Ha'Mashiach as he is revealed in the Torah and in Moshe and in the prophets, right? Same thing, same people, Hebrews, right? And he did it from morning till evening, right? And some believed the things which were spoken, and some believed not. Some believe not, because really it's only for those who have an ear to hear. It's only for those who Yahuwah has chosen, right? And Paul's speaking his word amongst this nation, right? And Paul is also often just flabbergasted at the fact that, you could present these people with evidence. You could present bruise with evidence, and they still won't receive it because they're stiff-necked and hard-headed. That's why. Yahuwah said it. These people are stiff-necked and hard-headed, hard-hearted people. But see, with those who receive the witness, Yahushua replaces the stone, the stone of the heart of stone, and replaces it with the heart of flesh, right? The Ruach Ha'Qodesh, right? Right? Yeah, that's in Ezekiel, the 36th chapter. Right? Matter of fact, let's hit it real quick. Let me see it. Ezekiel 36 and 26. A new heart will I give you, right? And a new Ruach. And I'm sure Paul had used these scriptures when he was explaining the witness of Yahushua Ha'Mashiach to the Pharisees. He says, a new heart will I give to you. A new Ruach Ha'Qodesh will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my Ruach Ha'Qodesh in you. And it will cause you to walk in my Torah. Keep my statutes, right? Keep my statutes and my judgments and do them. Listen, you remember again when Paul was before the Yahudiym, after having left Agabus and having left Philip's house and proceeded into Jerusalem, right? And was heard by the brethren. The brethren said, listen, we have a report in which thousands of the Yahudiym who have received the witness of Yahushua Ha'Mashiach are zealous for the law because they keep Torah. He's going to replace that stony heart, right? But you got those that are in the Yahudiym that's going to believe in those who aren't. That's why it's a selection of righteousness from the plant of righteousness, right? You have to be selected in order to receive it. If you and listen, that's why if you can't understand this, you can't grasp this, you can't do. Maybe because you ain't chosen. Okay. So it says here, and some believed the things which were spoken, and some believed not. So, he went from morning to evening giving them this word, and someone walked away. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And then someone's like, man, please. He bumped his head. That's not what that means, right? And when they agreed not amongst themselves, right? They didn't agree, right? Amongst themselves. And see, and again, Yahusha's telling Paul that you were going to have to testify before him in Rome as he did in Jerusalem. Well, not necessarily for the Yahudiym. Right? That was not the witness he was talking about. He was talking about Caesar's house. He was talking about the Gentiles. Caesar's house. And when they agreed not amongst themselves, they departed. After that, Paul had spoken one word. Well spake the Ruach Ha'Qodesh by Elias the prophet unto our fathers, saying, go unto this people, and say, hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and not and perceive. And you know what? They ain't because they ain't going to receive the witness of Yahushua Ha'Mashiach. Listen, man, you got to receive the witness of Yahushua Ha'Mashiach in Emunah. And if you can receive the witness of Yahushua Ha'Mashiach, right, then, the Ruach Ha'Qodesh is going to lead you and guide you into all truth, because you got to receive the witness of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, the water and the blood, right? You ain't going to... What must we do to be saved? You have to want to know the truth. You have to want to know the truth. You have to want to know the truth. Even some of the guys that Paul attended amongst the Gentiles, he went before some, and then he went before a more prominent. The scripture refers to the Jews that he met at this one synagogue. I can't remember the territory, but they were more prominent in that they researched what Paul said on their own, and they established that the fact that what Paul had said was actually the truth, and they came back, and some received the witness of Yahushua Ha'Mashiach and were converted. This ain't for everybody. It's for somebody. Right? Paul says, saying, go unto this people, Elias, and say, hearing, ye shall hear and shall not understand, because you won't receive the witness. And seeing, ye shall see and not perceive, because you won't receive the witness. Right? For the heart of the people are waxed gross, stone, and the ears are dull of hearing. Right? They won't retain wisdom. Right? And their eyes have closed, scales, refuse to see, lest they should see and their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand in their hearts, and should be converted. Right? I should heal them. You gotta receive the witness. You gotta receive the witness. Hebrews, you got to receive the witness. You got to receive the witness. You got to receive the witness. You got to receive the witness of Yahushua Ha'Mashiach. And you have to be established in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You have to be established in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You have to be established in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You have to be established in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Got to receive the witness. You got to receive the witness. Got to receive the witness. You got to receive the witness. And when he had said these words, the Jews departed. He said it to them. And had great reasoning amongst themselves. They left them and they were just reasoning among themselves. Right? And Paul dwelt 2 whole years in his own hired house and received all that came in unto him. He had to wait for people to come see him. Two years in the house. Right? 2 years. Not like it was when he was moving about declaring the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. He could speak to crowds. Now whoever he can get into his house, he gonna receive the witness. Oh, he gonna use this to write letters to the Rome, to Ephesus, to Corinthians, right? Corinthians. And then he's going to have people that visit him that's going to bring him his coat, who's going to come with the letter and take letters to the churches that they may be established. Now listen. This is the consequences for him not having listened to the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. It changed the chain of events. Now Yahu and Yahusha always knows what's going to happen, right? Right? But Paul, all he needed to do was listen to the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. He could have been doing this on foot. Well into the time that Yahu or whatever he had chosen for him to live. Instead, he's sitting in a house, locked up, wait for the opportunity to speak to Caesar. And you know he's gonna speak to the people of the house of Caesar. He gonna get into the witness. He did more than is recorded. There's more that's presented here. He said, and Paul dwelt 2 whole years in his house, hired, and received all that came unto him, preaching the kingdom of Elohiym, and teaching those things which concerned Adonai Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, with all confidence, no man forbidding him. He was teaching from his house, and nobody told him he couldn't. He was locked up. He was on house arrest, but nobody said anything about him not having people. He could have visitors. Caesar didn't care about that. Centurions didn't care about that. They knew where Paul was. And they knew that Paul wasn't going to go nowhere. Because Paul understood he needed to be heard by Caesar. Paul had people coming to him for 2 years. Right? And, you know, Paul probably had as many people he could get in his house at any given time, teaching them the message of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Was he still doing what Yahusha told him to do? Yes, he was, because he had the Ruach Ha'Qodesh, and Yahuwah was going to use him. Right? Could have been different. Absolutely. We'll never know. We'll never know. We'll never know. But I tell you what, Paul knows. He knew. Coming into Rome, the brothers came to him and he took courage. This is what it looks like. Man of Yah, woman of Yah. This is what the Ruach Ha'Qodesh looks like. This is what the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach looks like. This is what it looks like when you obey the witness, and this is what it looks like when you don't. Right? For probably more than 8 years, Paul was locked up. He was under somebody's control at some point in time. He had a form of liberty, but it wasn't a complete liberty. You know? Yahuwah's grace was sufficient. Paul said, you will let this cup pass from me. 3 times he asked him. And you know, that cup could, and this is just speculation, that cup could have very well be the whole prison, the whole being locked up, the whole being restricted and not being able to move about. Could have been that. Let this cup pass. You know, chains pass. You will say, no, my grace is sufficient for thee. Right? It didn't have to be this way, but now you're going to have to take it this way. My grace is going to be sufficient. You know, you asked him 3 times. You said, listen, my grace is sufficient. What I do for you is sufficient enough. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, the entire book of Acts. This is what it looks like. Right? This is what it looks like when you obey. This is what it looks like when you don't obey. When you hear and listen to the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. When you quench and you refuse to listen to the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. You better know the difference. And you better abide in the witness. Remain, continue, and dwell in the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, in the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. Yahu, I pray in the name of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, the entire books of Acts we have went through. And you told me to tell your people to show them that this is what it looks like. These signs follow them that believe. These are the things that you have called us to do and how you have declared that we are to reach your people with the Ruach Ha'Qodesh and the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Yahu, I pray that this word goes forth and does not return void. I pray that those who have an ear to hear will receive this witness. Yahu, I know this witness is for those that you have chosen, and I pray right now that this witness would be received. Yahu, I pray that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart would be acceptable in thy sight. I pray healing and deliverance for those who are under the sound of my voice. I pray that you would quicken your Ruach in them. I pray that you would heal them in their bodies, in their minds, in their thoughts. Yahuwah, bring them under the subjection of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh and the Basora and the Torah of truth. Yahuwah, reveal your truth in the Torah and the Basora to them. I give you praise. And again, Yahuwah, I thank you for the man of Yah and the woman of Yah. In the name of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, again, the entire book of Acts. Right? This is what it looks like. Right? It is not what you've seen in the Christian church. It's not what you've seen in Islam. It's not what you've seen in Judaism. Right? They have profaned his name. It's not that. As a nation of people, we have profaned his name. That's why we ended up in this captivity. That's why we ended up in the place we are to this day. It is because of our ancestors' failures. But Yahusha is establishing a righteous, selecting a righteousness from a righteous plant. And I am the fruit of that. And you are too, if you have received the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach and have the Ruach Ha'Qodesh. But now it's time for us to produce fruit. Yeah, we got to take this witness and produce fruit. We got to tell the brother, listen, it's more than just being bruised. We got to be established in the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. We got to reach these people in this dispensation. Right? Because the end ain't coming. Ain't nobody getting scooped up or gathered. We ain't going to no place. This is the wilderness. This is the wilderness. This is Mitzrayim. This is the wilderness of Mitzrayim. Right? And he's going to purge out the rebels. Right? Those who don't want to receive the witness. Those who rebel against the witness of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach. Listen. With that, man of Yah, woman of Yah, that's all I got. May Yahuwah bless you. Man of Yah called to greatness. Woman of Yahuwah called to greatness. Woman of Yahuwah beautifully and wonderfully made. Listen, Yahuwah has established you. If you are established in this witness, you need to go forth and produce fruit. In the name of Yahusha Ha'Mashiach, with that I say, listen, shalom, shalom and shalom. Be blessed. And Go forth today with the confession of the Ruach Ha'Qodesh being your leader, your guider, and your provision provider. Yeah, do that. With that, I say shalom.
Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.